KTSU 90.9, your community station. Good morning to one and all on a wonderful Saturday morning. The storms have passed, at least for now, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning in Houston, Texas on May 28, 2016. And I want to say good morning to all of you, and hopefully you have an interest in anything and everything sports, something sports. And we want to get you involved in the conversation, and the way to do that is by calling 713-313-4354, 713-313-4354. In addition to that, you can tweet me at Wadesword, WADESWORD. And, of course, you can find me on Facebook, the Sports Talk with Devan Wade group and the Sports Talk with Devan Wade page. And I want to say hello to all of the folks checking us out on the podcast, where you can actually get a visual and you get to watch me talk. Now, hey, I hope that's intriguing enough for you guys. Well, we want to talk about the Houston Rockets, the NBA Finals. A lot going on. I want to get into this Western Conference Finals. Obviously, last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers clinched their berth in the NBA Finals. LeBron for the 6th year in a row. We can talk about that. I certainly have some thoughts about that. It's going to be a wonderful and intriguing NBA final, especially coming off the heels of an absolutely horrible Eastern Conference Finals. Playoffs, period. Everything on the Eastern Conference has been horrible, unwatchable. We can get into that as well. But whatever you want to talk about, you certainly can. 713-313-4354, anticipating a visit from Kevin Allen. Get his take on some NBA stuff. But we want to hear from you guys. I have some poll questions up on the Twitter. We'll get into those as well. Maybe a little weekend review and some sports entertainment. So a lot to get into. It's the fastest hour in sports talk. It's Sports Talk with Devan Wade on KTSU 90.9, your community station. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Devan Wade on a wonderful Saturday morning. Want to get you involved in the conversation. And the way to do that, 713-313-4354, 713-313-4354. In addition to that, you can tweet me at Wadesword, WADESWORD. And, of course, you can find me on Facebook, the Sports Talk with Devan Wade page and group. Well, one half of the NBA Finals has been set, and we know that the Cleveland Cavaliers will be there for the 2nd year in a row, six times in a row for LeBron James. What a remarkable feat for him as he, again, continues to succeed. And, I know people are going to say I throw shade, but if you think back to the 6 appearances, now early on in his career, beating Detroit, doing some of the things he did were outstanding. Lately, and again, sports is usually about what have you done for me lately. Who's been his toughest opposition? His toughest opposition has been probably an Indiana Pacers team with Paul George and Lance Stevenson and Roy Hibbert. And that's sort of been the toughest opposition. This Eastern Conference, again, and again, I'll give them a chance to win in the NBA Finals. But we'll get to the Western Conference as well. But the toughest opposition he faced this year in the Eastern Conference Finals was about the 7th best team, easily. The 7th best team in the entire NBA. So not a murderer's row to get to the NBA Finals by any stretch of the imagination. But you play who's in front of you. He got it done. Congratulations to Cleveland. And I know that people think that simply by adding Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love that hey, they will win the championship now. Those guys weren't there last year. Now they're here. No matter who they play, they automatically win. I beg to differ, and we'll have time. It seems like a month from now before we get into the kickoff of the NBA Finals. I want to say 7 days from now. I think next Saturday is when they get started. So, again, we can talk about that next Saturday, probably delve into that a little bit more. On the Western Conference side, wow, I have to tell you, I have been taken aback by Oklahoma City's dominance. Obviously, Golden State came back the other night, 120-111 win. Steph Curry did some big things. And again, Draymond Green had a great game, and they were able to stave off elimination for at least one more game. They will find out today or Monday what exactly will happen in that series. I want you to call your shot on the if you want to get involved, then you don't have to necessarily call. You can tweet me or go to my Twitter page at Wadesword, WADESWORD, and then there you can have an opportunity to voice your opinion. I have a poll up. Who do you think would win? And you can say yes or no. The Oklahoma City Thunder or the Golden State Warriors. You can call it. It's our You Can Call It question of the week. I have two You Can Call It questions of the week. And with that, I want to bring in Kevin Allen, the Silver Fox. Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. We always enjoy having you.
Good morning. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, again, a lot of developments in the NBA. Let's get to your Houston Rockets. I'm going to point to you, your Houston Rockets. Hired Mike D'Antoni. What are your thoughts? I mean, I've never disliked him. He's not had success in the last couple of stops in the NBA. 65 years old. And again, age, like Aaliyah says, age ain't nothing but a number. But philosophically, you're adding a guy who's not known for his defensive prowess as a coach to coach a team that's probably one of the worst, worst defensive teams in the NBA, and you lose Dwight Howard. Because he's not going to play. Those two didn't get along in L.A., right? They didn't work well together.
Didn't work well. So when you look at it that way, Devin, you probably figure out who made the call for that hire.
And I guess you have to believe that Les Alexander and Daryl Morey understood that if you make this hire, you're bidding adieu to Dwight Howard. I think that they knew that all along, but maybe they held out hope. I don't know.
Well, when you look at that deal, the way I'm looking at it now is that do we get a D'Antoni and keep James Harden happy, or do we get a defensive-minded coach or a Stern-type coach and get someone else and keep Dwight Howard?
But like I said, I mean, look, I tell you.
He's not playing defense, Devin, so it's the same thing.
They keep talking about who he'll hire as his defensive coach.
That's just.
But philosophically, he's not a defensive coach. So, good hire for the Rockets or nah?
Terrible hire. They'll be worse.
They'll be worse. Well, I mean, they would be worse anyway, I would think. You have all these moving pieces.
Well, not necessarily, because when you look at that hire, number one, now as a free agent, hey, we know where the ball is going to be. What made him look good in Phoenix is because you had Steve Nash.
A facilitator.
Exactly. Anytime after that, you get the real D'Antoni.
I mean, so I actually like his philosophy if you had a right team. I go back to his success in Phoenix to when I liked him. It doesn't inspire much enthusiasm among the fan base.
Yeah, you look at that Phoenix basketball team, you had Nash, you had Joe Johnson, you had Amari Stoudemire, you had a couple other great pieces there that could fit. But now you go and you take him to L.A., and he couldn't pretty much build a team there. So now you're coming to another situation here where you're going to have to build again. And when you're a free agent and you look at this thing, you're gonna second guess yourself. Do I really want to go over there? So, the Kevin Durant sweepstakes that they thought, that's out of the window.
Well, again, I've said all along, and I think it's affirmed in this Western Conference Finals that he's going to stay in Oklahoma City. Well, I mean, there's not a better option. And again, we're talking off-season basketball, and we're talking about a guy who's still very much involved in the thick of things, leading the Western Conference series 3-2. And they go back home for Game 6. So let's get to that series. First of all, what has happened to Golden State?
Nothing. They've run into a good team that really turned it up on the defensive end. And
right.
They could always score, but now they've actually turned it up on the defensive end, and the move that Coach Donovan did was great. He stayed big and used the length.
Right.
Which made a big
Which many teams can't do.
Can't do because his bigs
Ibaka and Adams can get out.
Can get out. So,
well, but I will say this: in game, game 4, really came down to Golden State with a lot of unforced errors. They just didn't take care of the basketball. They were very careless. They shored up some of those things in game 5, and again still had to sort of hang on. I'm certainly surprised. The speculation is, Steph Curry's not 100%. I think he's fine.
No, Steph is fine, but Steph is running up to a super athlete with Russell Westbrook. Or if you look at him on the other end, he has to guard with, Russell Westbrook, Dion Waiters. These guys can actually score. So now he's chasing. Klay Thompson is chasing. So it's not so much what they're doing wrong, is what OKC is doing exceptionally well at this time.
And you bring up a perfect segue to what I want to ask. It's another you call it. If you go to Wade's Word on Twitter, if you're able to go on the site, I have a couple poll questions. One is who's going to win the Western Conference Finals. I'll start with that. Is OKC going to close it out?
It's going to be tough, Dev. Today will tell the tale. Game 6 is game 7.
So if it go back to game, so you really believe that if they go back, remember Oklahoma City's come to Oakland and the Bay Area and won.
Game 6 is game 7. So if OKC wins, it's over. But if Golden State wins, OKC won't win game 7.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Who wins tonight?
I can't call it that because they're all going to leave it out on the floor tonight. Golden State is the defending champions. They have some super players. OKC is what you can't say going through the moment because they've been through the finals. But
they seem like a determined bunch. And again, momentum is
everything because that's what I'm saying. If Golden State comes out tonight and catches fire early, oh my God.
Well, they'll catch